Zenith's new Defy Skyline Skeleton has been the talk of the town since its unveiling. And who has all the details about the watch? That's right, we do. But before we jump into the specs and everything, let's go back to the beginning of the Skyline. In 2022, Zenith unveiled the Defy Skyline, and boy, people had a lot to say about the watch, and not all of the comments were positive. Anyway, it would appear that the Skyline has been successful while also providing some much-needed variety to a collector's market that has become overly fixated on a narrow subset of integrated bracelet steel sports watches. Not to mention the fact that obtaining one of these is an almost difficult feat. So if you're hoping Zenith would do more with the Skyline after last year, then congratulations! You've got your wish. The Zenith Defy Skyline Skeleton is the first step in that direction, so let's review it, shall we? A little more than a year ago, Zenith made significant strides towards expanding its Defy portfolio. First with the Defy Revival A3642, which played into Zenith's strengths by paying homage to the brand's history. And then with the unexpected release of the Defy Skyline, the three-hand El Primero sports watch. Now folks, it's 2023, there are new watches to come. Watches that will blow our minds, and Zenith already has a head start. What do we mean? The new Defy Skyline Skeleton takes things to the next level this year, and it does it by drawing inspiration from the first Defy Skeleton and by being designed to display the incredible and distinctive El Primero movement that is housed within. The watch comes with either a black or blue open dial, both of which feature a four-pointed star pattern with triangular and boomerang-shaped patterns cut out of the dial. Interestingly, this leaves some of the dial's superstructure intact, which leads to an outside minute track that has rhodium-plated, faceted hour markers covered in superluminova. The skeletonized movement and the star-shaped oscillating weight both have a finish that is the same satiny black color as the dial of the watch. However, this is not simply the Skyline from the last year, remember? The open-worked version? Sure, the base of the watch is a similar three-hand automatic El Primero 3620. However, the date window has been removed and the 1/10 of a second subdial has been relocated to the 6 o'clock position. Despite this, the crown is located at the usual position of 3 o'clock on the case, and its power reserve is 60 hours. The steel housing has the same angular form and is 41mm across. It also has a bezel with 12 edges that have been precisely carved. In addition, the watch retains its original screw-down crown, which is one of the factors that contribute to its ability to withstand water pressure of 100 meters. Last but not least, the watch boasts a straightforward mechanism that allows the user to switch between the rubber strap and the steel band. So here's the thing we're thinking. Did you ever see El Primero 21? Well, if you've ever seen the El Primero 21 double escapement on the Defy Extreme titanium chronograph, you just know it's a Zenith. Why? It gives this futuristic, dramatic and even Terminator-like vibe. It is a watch with dimensions of 45mm by 15.4mm, and it somehow feels right. But it's a chronograph. Now, before you're off thinking, what are we saying? Let us explain. Usually a chronograph, just like many open-worked complicated watches, offers one of these things: legibility or the ability to appreciate the movement, never both. In simple terms, you can only view one of the two subdials and not both of them at the same time. Now, because it's a three-handed watch, which makes the combination of skeletonization and designs somewhat easier, the new Defy Skyline Skeleton looks amazing and is highly legible, at least in images, thankfully. All because it is a three-handed watch. Both of the dials include indexes and hands that are rhodium-plated for added sophistication. On the blue-dialed Skyline Skeleton, the decision to keep the outside track and the seconds subdial blue makes for a truly dramatic modern contrast, which makes that dial many people's favourites so far. In addition, we like that the subdial may be moved to the position that corresponds to the 6 o'clock hour. Yes, we know we're a bit traditional, but you have to look at the intrinsic symmetry of a conventional dial design of this watch. Don't you find it appealing? Anyway, let's move on to the cost. Is it affordable? Well, relatively, sure it is. The cost of the watch can easily be accommodated in one's budget. We think that the price tag of approximately $11,000 is, well, more than justified given the high quality of the skeletonization and polish on both the case and the dial. When you take a cursory look at the motion, you will notice that there is an absence of what has recently become the trending demand for more and better interior viewpoints. The anglage of the dial, as well as the faceted indexes that are finished with rhodium, create the impression that the mechanism below is a perfect match. The colour of the plates and bridges of the movement may help hide any tiny imperfections in the finishing, but the watch gives the impression of being consistent and aesthetically beautiful as a whole. Don't you want it already? A reviewer said last year that this is us paraphrasing, but he said, for the most part, the history books of watchmaking, like any other, have always been written by the victors. Such accurate words. In truth, because of the successes of El Primeros and Submariners, the space required for the Defys and Milgauss models of other brands to mature has been created. For the Defy brand to be successful up to this point, we believe that it had to put up a tough struggle against market forces that, well, weren't huge fans. The results of their labour seem to have been well worth their investment, because look at what we have today. In case you missed it, the Zenith Defy Skyline Skeleton comes in a 41mm case, has a water resistance of 100 meters, and has a power reserve of 60 hours. Its case material is stainless steel and its movement is the El Primero 3620 SK. It houses sapphire crystals and it costs $11,000. In light of all we have said, we sincerely hope that the Defy Skyline will not be referred to as a hype watch at any point in the future. It would be amazing if it could stand aside from the Royal Oak and Nautilus scarcity craze and be treasured by its own set of collectors. This would be a dream come true. It would appear, however, that if you were to imitate this design style, as we saw with watches like the Vacheron Overseas line, you would eventually doom your watch to become so popular that it would be difficult to purchase. Yes, that happens. The Skyline may head in that direction, but frankly speaking, there is a chance that it won't happen at all. No matter what the outcome would be, we would be here to see it. Aside from that, we couldn't be happier to see Zenith making further investments in the Skyline. And finally, now folks, our excitement and curiosity has both increased by a factor of 2 since the first unveiling. Anyway, we're also pleased that this year is off to a great start. Tell us, will you be adding the new Defy Skyline to your collection?